fighter, right? If you say mean things to me, it pisses me off and I want to punch you. And if you're gonna pay me a lot of money to punch you as well, like, well then, now I have a job. This fight for me, it's to go out there and prove that I have the potential to win a world title. Jalin Turner is one of the best. Like, I take nothing off the kid. I want to fight him because he's one of the very best fighters, and he has a lot of fighters turning down when they see his name on a contract. So that makes me excited to fight someone in the top 10, to be potentially back in the mix, and to put yourself a couple fights away from a title is exactly why I want to have this fight.
David Adesanya here, your uncrowned 145-pound champion with former featherweight arch nemesis slash CKB team captain Dan the Hangman Hooker. How are you today, champ?
That's the second best intro I've had this week.
What was the first? What, Submission Radio?
Yeah.
What do they say?
They get deep.
What do they say? I have to go.
The boys, you have to go watch it, mate.
I have to go
learn
watch
a little, you know what I mean?
So I got to up my intros, you reckon? Fuck. All right. Yeah, how have you been? It's been a while since we've caught up.
Nah, I've actually been, I've been really good. Not, don't mean to brag, but nah, I've been good, just training, been in the gym for a while now. Obviously, hands fully recovered, got booked for a fight.
How was that training with one hand? Looked pretty...
Oh, it's something I've done before. Like, it wasn't, definitely wasn't my first rodeo. It's just a part of the sport. I think anyone that does any martial art, like, consistently, if you stop training every time you get an injury, you're never going to get any training done. Like, I've definitely, you know, only had my right hand, only had my left hand for like good periods of time. So you just get good at working around injuries. Like, yeah, you just cannot stop. You can't stop.
Also, new changes since we last spoke. You no longer have your Combat Academy gym. How's that been as a change in your life, not being a gym owner slash head coach of another gym and then, you know, team leader of CKB and have your whole career, and how's that dynamic changed?
Yeah, I definitely, like, it's a learning experience. So at the time, I was obviously, you know, you're just young and you're just taking on more and more things. And to have my own gym, like, it's, I definitely knew it was a big step and going to take a lot of time, but the
responsibility too.
It's a lot of responsibility when you're trying to focus on your own career as well. Like, so it came to a point where, you know, I had to focus on, like, be a bit selfish and focus on my own career. But I've been lucky enough that a lot of the people who have come with me to City Kickboxing, like, I was standing there at wrestling the other night and I look around the mat, it would have been 10 or 15 of the guys I had at Combat Academy standing there. So a lot of the fight team transitioned, a lot of my members came with me as well. So that little bit of community was brought with me. But yeah, like, in general, there was just a good understanding and obviously of the decision that I made, that it was just too much time off my plate. So not having the gym to run as well is, yeah, it's been like, I'm at the point now, I don't know how I was doing it. Like, now, like, I'm busy.
You had no manager, you were managing yourself.
I was busy without the gym. I'm so busy. Like, I'm always coming and going from training and doing this and rehab and physio and, like, all of these things. Like, I'm exhausted not having the gym. So I was doing all of this stuff and then running the gym as well, which is like a lot. You know, you're not only like teaching classes and stuff like that, but then you're working one-on-one with your fighters. You're also like matching your fights, like matching guys up, like talking with promoters.
A lot of admin.
Like film study as well. Like, you're sitting there watching like hours and hours of film study. Like, it's a crazy amount. Yeah, I could see myself like getting overworked and you just lose that like passion. It was Diddy. I was speaking to him at the gym the other day and he left in like November or just before November when the gym shut down. And I was just speaking to him and he's like, "You're a lot happier now." He's like, "What happened?" And it wasn't until I was like driving home and I was like, "Oh, the gym shut down." Like, I'm not like overworked and like burning myself out. Yeah, it was getting to the point where I was getting burnt out. So I just had to, take that time.
How long was that period for? From when the gym opened until when it closed?
It was 4 years.
4
We
years?
had the gym. Yeah. We were running the gym for 4 years.
I thought it was like a couple of years. I didn't know it was that long. That's a long time. That's a big chunk of your career to be, managing all these things and feeling the way you were feeling, and that's a long
I
time.
definitely feel like we accomplished a lot. Like we did a lot in a short space of time. Like built like a really strong fight team. So I'm very happy with with how everything went.
Is that something that you would go back to after you finish your fighting career, or play it by
Yeah,
ear?
we'll see.
All right, so you've been, out of action, injury, still training, a bit of a lull in your, I guess, schedule and activity. Have you been keeping up with your two favorite sports, UFC and Power Slap?
Well, Power Slap, we haven't been running consistently. Let's get through it. I have, in that time, delved heavily into bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed that as well. So that takes up a bit of my Power Slap time as well. So between Power Slap, bare knuckle boxing, bare knuckle boxing, but that's different.
And UFC,
like,
do you watch
Power
that?
Slap, I watch and I'm like not gonna. I would never compete in Power Slap. Like that's
You mean pound for pound?
so far out of the question.
Bare knuckle.
That's something that strikes my fancy.
Why?
Have you watched it?
I've watched it. I watched Michael Venom
You watched
versus
Did you watch the
Mike
last?
Perry last night.
It's
the
just
replay.
man, that's an exciting sport. Like that definitely changes the game.
So there's the I guess upping the ante when it comes to
Well, there's like I do this. Like you have to understand when I started the sport, like there was no money in it. Like I never wanted to do this as a career. Like it just makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and you get excited, and you what's my cat doing?
she's all right.
You get like I do it for the pure thrill and excitement of getting in a cage and fighting someone
Yeah.
else. But like it's
But there's bare knuckle, there's
20
a
fights.
thrill.
It's 20 fights in the UFC. Like it's getting a bit, la-di-da. Like that's a sport that really gets me excited.
Yeah, so like the thrill of bare knuckle was a bit higher than
Well, like it's
mixed
not
martial arts.
necessarily the thrill. It's like the risk.
It looks brutal.
The
Like,
risk,
I mean,
like the risk of it puts you on edge.
yeah.
But it's the same thing. Like you go back and watch. So Chad Mendes for Eddie Alvarez. Go watch like Eddie Alvarez post-fight speech. He pretty much like summed up about how I feel like it, and that's a guy that's gone through and actually experienced it. He's like, man, he said, I'm like this old, I've been fighting. He's like, you go out there and fight MMA fight for 25 minutes. Like that compared with this, like bare knuckle was only 2-minute rounds, like 5 2-minute rounds or 3 2-minute rounds.
One extra for the draw.
He's like, this is superficial. In a couple of weeks, like this will be healed up. He's like, man, it's not the same as the wrestling training, the jiu-jitsu training, like grinding your body down. Like you just have to box and.
Oh, I see you. I see what you're
He's saying
talking
it's a
about.
lot
Yeah,
less
yeah.
toll on your body as you get like a little bit older. That'll be my definitely more towards a retirement plan. I've got no, it's not an immediate future.
CKB has had a good run this year from, slash freestyle. Volk, almost becoming double champ. Izzy beating Alex. It looks like it's even been translating down in the local scenes and the guys coming up. Because, you see it on social media, CKB's, the regional scene there. I think that weekend after we got back and there were 5 CKB fighters in the promotion and they all won.
Yeah, we were down in Dunedin, like, and then there was two amateur boys, and then the last 3 were all professional fights, and then all 3. There was the weekend after
Is
Israel's
it 4
one.
finishes?
Yeah, it was the 3 professional fights were all first round finishes. So it's like they really that energy from like Israel's one really just came across, and the boys
What's the atmosphere been like in the gym?
Oh, it's been the same. Like it's been exactly the same. And then like Israel, obviously, like I don't know, like Craig Jones didn't just appear out of nowhere. I assume that Israel brought him over to help the team better and work with the team. And that's been like crazy as well. So for ride that high of all of those wins, and then to have Craig Jones in the gym every day with us. It's not like he's just come in for a picture, which like is when you get a lot of big stars comes through. They just come in for a picture, maybe like do a seminar and then leave. It's not the same as having your hands on a guy. Like I've rolled with Craig every day this week. Like it's been, it's crazy to be able to work with someone like that.
You were telling me something before. Eugene has changed the schedule a bit, and how you guys have to do, what was it, an hour of grappling every day?
Well, yeah, it's like our normal schedule, but then we just like roll with Craig Jones for an hour every day, like on top of that. So it's like, it's been, yeah, like it's cool. Like that I get energy from being excited about the sport. Like, so having that there and being like really reinvigorated and re-energized about like your jiu-jitsu and stuff like that is cool. So even though we're doing more training, I feel like I have more energy.
More energy. And you're learning a lot too, I'd assume.
Oh, crazy amounts. Like just, it's like anything, like devil's in the detail. It's the same thing as like a jab's a jab, an armbar's an armbar, but to see Craig Jones with your own eyes, to have him demonstrate, to have him iron out the kinks, it's the same thing as like having twist there with your striking. Like the devil's in the detail, like jab's a jab, cross is a cross, but having someone like that telling you like the tiniest thing, like the tiniest thing you're doing wrong, and it makes like a huge impact in your game. Like to have, yeah, I truly feel that right now, like City Kickboxing, like that's the best place you could possibly be to be improving as a martial artist. Like striking, wrestling with Andre, grappling with Craig Jones, striking with Huge and Twist and Dougie and Mike, and like it's just yeah. It's crazy right now.
Yeah, you feel like working with Craig and having Craig there is like changing people's games. People going for submissions in the grappling sparring. People trying new things.
No, it's not like necessarily that. Like he's on like the cutting edge of like where jiu-jitsu is right now, and like where it's going to be moving towards in the future. And if that's the way that it's being implemented at the highest level of jiu-jitsu right now, and where the game's going, like that'll trickle down into MMA at some stage, like in the next year or 2 years or 6 months. Like that's the way that the MMA game will be moving. So it's like learning new things, refining old techniques. Like he's just funny dude to train with. Like you have like some of your best positions that have been working for me for like 15 years. And I'm like, all right, I got him here. And he'll just cut through it like butter. Just make it. And he'll just be like, nah, that's not really a position. Like, so it's just streamlines a lot of your game.
So your fight with Jalin Turner has been rebooked. But before we talk about that, what's it like having, a manager now and not having to deal with the admin side of things of your career? Because I assume if you were still self-managing yourself, you would have been, calling Hunter or Megan and doing the deals that way.
I probably would have done some more dumb shit. Like I probably would have fought. I probably would have rushed things. I probably would have taken a fight that I shouldn't have taken, or something like that, or taken the fight when my hand wasn't healed. Like I'm 100% certain that, yeah, they're just like, it's a safety net to prevent me from doing more dumb shit. That's like, that's all it truly is. Now, is it? Like I'm a fighter, right? Yeah. If you say mean things to me, it pisses me off and I want to punch you.
Yeah.
And if you're going to pay me a lot of money to punch you as well, like, well then now I have a job. But that's obviously not, like, from watching the sport, like that's not the people that are winning titles, and some of the biggest names in the sport are not the guys that will fight anyone. Like how many of us are still around? You know what I mean? Guys that'll go out there, sign a dot against anyone and get out there and scrap them. Like that's not...
Yeah, so it's helping you make smarter moves and be more strategic.
Yeah. Well, you're not even part of it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not part of like how the fights get put together. You just get me the name and then...
And you like it this way now?
That's good. Well, it's even Ash is like, my manager, he's like, well, who do you want to fight? And I'm like, I will fight anyone. Yeah, but who do you want to fight? And I said, I will punch any of them.
So what, he has to go filter that
through and find out? I don't care. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, that's some real BMF activity right there. Let's talk about the matchup. What did you think of Jalin's fight versus Gamrot?
Yeah, I thought I thought he won that fight. Like, you can see how like the judges scored that kind of thing, but I felt like he was like hurting Gamrot. Yeah, Gamrot's like one of those funny fighters that's figured out like the cheat code, you know. He's like read through the rule book and he's like, all right, if I do this and like, yeah, that's not really. I thought Jalin won. In my eyes and in my opinion, Jalin Turner won that fight.
Were there any takeaways that you saw in that matchup? Things that you learned?
Yeah, I have to watch it after having far less beers. Like I have to.
Well, it doesn't even compare because, you know,
Gamrot. I'm not Gamrot, you know what I mean? Like,
Gamrot.
He had like, I always have people like my old man's like, oh, he doesn't look like he can defend a takedown. Why don't you just take him down? And I'm like,
is that what your old man said?
Yeah, I'm like, well, I'm not Gamrot. You know what I mean? Like the skill sets don't align, so it's not that he can't stop a takedown. It's like Gamrot is like relentless. Like he's a dog with a bone when he gets on a leg. Like that's not how I fight. That's to take away. You can't take away like that much from it. It's apples and oranges.
Explain to the casuals out there what makes the lightweight division so dangerous and hard to climb. The most stacked division in the UFC. So for people that don't know, because there's always new viewers out there.
I would say it's just like the depth of the division. And that's not like particularly in the UFC. Like that's just globally. I think if you take like all humans,
the average size of a male.
Yeah, like the average size of a male. And then I think like any bigger, and you'll be probably like if I was any bigger, I'd be playing like a professional sport. I'd be playing like rugby or rugby league or something like that.
You mean match-wise?
Yeah, like if I was 90 kilos, I'd be a professional rugby league player. Like I would have never discovered fighting. Like fighting at the lighter weights, like we draw a lot of like super freak athletes. That's why it's so, as you come down to like welterweight, lightweights, it's just depth of divisions as well. Like if you look at the numbers from how many people are in each division, I think it's like 80 something middleweights, 100 and this is like the last time I looked, so it could have been 10 years.
Lightweight's the most populous division.
Lightweight and welterweight, like it's like 150, 170 guys in each division. Like it's just the depth is crazy. So when you fight them off against each other and weed it down to a top 10 or a top 15, like there's some crazy good guys there.
What did you think of Volk's fight with Islam? Yeah,
I thought he won. Like sitting there in the crowd with all the team. Like I haven't watched it back or anything like that, but I had Volk winning that fight.
What kind of effect do you think Volk's performance had on the lightweight roster when he, you know, made Islam look not as invincible as he once was perceived to be?
Well, obviously, like that team and that, like, you have to say the mental side of our sport is huge. Like a lot of people say, like in combat sports, like your mental fortitude or the mental game is like a huge aspect of it. And that team carries like a huge mental aspect of it. And they're like
Islam's team.
Well, they're riding off the back of Khabib, like being undefeated, and just the way he went out, and like the dominant end to his title reign was incredibly impressive. And that kind of mystique around that kind of went on to Islam, and he was riding on that kind of mystique. But that you have to understand that mystique of being undefeated and, you know, wrestling beers when you're a kid, like that feeds down into everyone else, where they're like, man, these guys are something special, you know what I mean? But then see like Volk go out there and make him look human. Now obviously he made him look human. Every other fighter in the division is going, oh man, he's human. Like if Volk can take him down, like if Volk can hit him, I can hit him. If Volk can get up, I can get up. Like that's just combat sports. Like once that mental barrier has been smashed or broken, you'll see the tide like start to shift, where you'll see people like call him out, and you'll see people ask for the fight, and there's that mystique and that aura around them starts to fade away, and they just look human.
The BMF belt, Dustin versus Justin, 5-round main event, UFC 291. What was your initial reaction to that announcement? They've both changed. We've got, you know, the patient Gaethje now. Poirier's coming off some big wins.
Yeah. I would say I would say that would be like the deciding factor in that fight. Dustin's just a fun guy to fight. Like he makes it like too fun and like sucks you into that game. And like Gaethje did it. I can watch like the Gaethje fight and it's the exact same thing. He's just like a fun guy to fight. Like get a fun guy to get in a fight with. Which is like a weird thing. He's just a fun person to fight, and you get distracted about all of that and just get sucked into the fight.
Just from, hitting each other and enjoying the war.
Yeah. It's just fun.
The BMF belt, should it be a more active belt, you think?
Nah, like that's why it's like a little bit of a silly fight, you know what I mean? Like we're prize fighters at the end of the day, like nah, because what does it actually mean though? What does it actually mean?
I mean, for people that like have, fought for championships and come up short, and for, fun main events, you can have some fun with it. I feel like someone like yourself would qualify to fight for the BMF. Would it be something that you could be keen for if it was offered?
Of course I take it, because there's like money that comes with that, like which is like the main objective of doing it. But like having a BMF title and hanging that on my wall and being proud of that is like not the same as a world title. Like that's just...
Jorge seemed pretty happy.
Yeah, like I probably like, put it under the bed or something like that. I'm not gonna...
You disrespecting the BMF belt? I mean,
I'm not disrespecting...
The Rock brought it out, man. All right, there's always narratives surrounding fighters and fight bookings. And, there'll be journalists will say whatever, fans will say whatever. What kind of a statement do you want to make after you handle business at UFC 290?
Back in the mix. Like, this is a fight that puts me back in the mix. This is not anyone unranked or someone coming up this is like I feel like this fight's like a true tipping point. You know what I mean? It's got a bit of a chip. It's time to go out there and prove that I belong in there with the best guys. Like that's this fight for me. It's to go out there and prove that I still that I have the potential to win a world title. Because I've said that many times. Like if I don't think that world title's in the mix, then what's the point in even doing it? And that's how I truly feel. And Jalin Turner is one of the best. Like I take nothing off the kid. Like he is, I want to fight him because he's one of the very best fighters, and he has a lot of fighters turning down when they see his name on a contract. So that makes me excited to fight someone in the top 10, to be potentially back in the mix, and to put yourself a couple fights away from a title is exactly why I want to have this fight.
Nice. I believe in you, brother. Thank you for your time today. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.